Alright guys, welcome to this video. We're talking about forms, right? Forms are used to collect users' input on a website. If you want to take whatever the user wants to say, want to take their email address, phone number, or you just want them to send you a mail, you can do it through a form. So we're going to just explore the basics of forms. First, the form tag, the label tag, the input tag, and the button tag. That's what we're going to do today. The form is actually a large stuff, so we're going to start with these ones, and then we explore more as time goes on. So how do we do that? First of all, we're going to create a new session. Since we've learned that, we are becoming pros in this thing now. Okay? So we're going to create a new session, right? And inside the session, we're going to add a form tag. The form tag just tells the browser, okay, I'm adding a form right now. Cool. So the next thing we want to do is add a label. Or first of all, before we get into the label, we have to add something in the form. There are two parameters that we should always add in our form, right? The first one is action. The second one is method, right? So the action tells the form where to go to or what to do when the submit button is clicked. So first of all, I'm just going to write /submit, right? That means go to the page called submit, right? Or maybe where we put our logic, maybe the submit page is where we wrote the logic for submission, the form submission and all of that. But I'm just going to leave it at submit for now. This is not going to do anything, so it's actually going to lead to an error page, okay? But then let's just continue. So we have method. So the method is going to be either get or post, but I'm going to use post for now. So post is basically used to send something, right? And get is used to get something. As simple as that. So let me say I want to send the data here to somewhere else. I'm going to use post. But if I want to use that data to verify something and get stuff, right, I'm going to use get. So just for now, leave all of these for now. We're going to get into them. By the time we get to JavaScript, we'll find how to get this done. By the way, we are learning this so we can be able to learn JavaScript. So once you are done with this, check the channel to see if the video is out for JavaScript. If it is not yet out, then subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to be notified when we post the video, right? So then the next thing we're going to add inside the form is going to be the label. Of course, label is, for example, you want someone to add their first name. You have to write first name for them to know, right? You should add your first name here in the input. So we're going to call this first name, right? I put a colon and a space, then press enter, and then the next tag, the input tag. The input tag is a self-closing tag, right? This is a tag that does not have a second one, just closes itself by itself. So input, right? And then you have yeah, that is it. You're done with it, right? But not necessarily done. You're going to add some parameters to it. So there are two parameters that you should add, or three. There are many parameters actually that you can add. Is that okay? So, but then we're going to just do some for now and get into it. The basic one we need to add is the type. Okay, what type of input is this? Is it a checkbox? Is it a color? Is it a color, date time, whatever? There are many kinds of stuff you want to add here, but what we want to do is text, right? We want to use text, and text is just to tap for the user to type in something, right? Maybe we might explore some other stuff just to show you how it works, and then we go on. Now there is text, right? And then the next one to add is ID, right? The ID, call it first name, right? So this is the identifier. ID, of course, is identifier for this item. So whenever you want to use this ID, you can use ID to refer to this element. And we're going to do all of that when we get to JavaScript. But then next thing is going to be name, right? You want to give it a name, and give it the name of first name, of course. Now there are many others we can add. We can add a class. These are the ID and the class are things that we use in CSS and JavaScript to style and manipulate the input field. So we can add a class and call it f name, just for short, right? So let's just leave it at this right now. To make it simpler, you can press enter here and tab into it like this, so you can be able to read, to make your code more readable. This doesn't make any difference to the code itself. Okay, so now we've added this. The next thing that we need to add before we can have a look at our form is going to be the button, right? Button, right? Close itself. I mean, it adds the closing tag for us. And then what type of button do you want to add? The type is equal to submit, right? Want to add a submit, want the button to actually submit the form. So we can write anything we want inside here. We can now write send or submit. So let's just write submit for simplicity. Now with this, we can save this and have a look at our form. Then we'll come back and see if we can add some other fields and other parameters. So press Ctrl S, come in here and reload the page. And down here you can see your form was too close to this, right? But then at least you can see the first name, the first label, then the input field where the user can actually type something, right? And then the submit button. Now you're actually doing it, right? You are now a website developer, right? You are beginning to code, adding forms that users can actually use. So to give a space here, we're going to use a h2, right? So after the session tag, I'm going to use a h, or let me use h3, right? To say, okay, send me a mail or connect with me, because remember we are trying to create something that looks like a portfolio that will still start to look good. So connect with me. So Ctrl S on that, then reload. Now this we have something looking a bit good down here. Okay, so the next thing I would want to talk about will be this label. First we'll tap this into this like this to look good. So this label, we can add a for tag, right? A for parameter rather. So we can click on it for what? So what is this for, right? Observe that we gave this a name of first name. So we can copy this name and say this label is actually for this input. Now this is not going to make any difference on your page, but of course that is still the best practice that we should follow. And the browser, it gives more detail to the browser and all of that, so you can do that. Now what am I going to do now? I'm going to duplicate all of this, right? And now begin. Oh no, I'm not going to do that, just to give you a feel of what I'm doing. So I'm just going to create a new one, a label, right? And I'm going to call this label email address or last name first. Last name, right? And I'm going to say this last name is going to be for last name. Okay, now which means you're going to create an input field for last name. So input that is going to have a name of last name, and it's also going to have an ID. Now the order you put these things in don't matter, right? But then I like to put type first. So what type is it going to be? Of course it's going to be text, right? And then have my name, then this, that's class if you want to, the most. So I'm gonna call it L name, our class. By the way, it can bear the same name as ID. I just want to do it this way. Then I'm gonna tab this to make it look good, right? Like this. Okay, cool. And then one more thing I'm gonna add here is going to be add a label and add age range. I'm gonna add age range. So we want to know who is reaching out to us. I'm going to say for age range, right? Then I'm going to do an input, and I'm going to call it type. Now this type, we're going to pick not a checkbox, but a, what is it called, a radio, right? So a radio button, so that people can be able to click on something to write different age ranges and they can choose from it. So write name, or call it age range, because we can add an ID of age range. Okay, so here we have age range as the ID, and then the name is age range, right? But I want to change this to age, just age, right? To make it simpler, right? So we've added this. Once we save this, right, you're going to see, okay, let me just save it. So you see, reload this, and you will see we have the first name, last name, and then age range. And we just have one item here, right? All right, now that we've entered this input this way, we have the type, right? The name. Okay, so we need to add other inputs to be able to see the age ranges that they can choose from. So the first thing we need to make sure, as we begin to add other input, we need to make sure that the name is the same everywhere. Now we can now change the IDs and the values to whatever we want, but the name has to be the same, right? So I want to, now I have the age range here, but I want to change this age range to something else. I want to change this label to become under 18. So I'm going to bring this down here and change this to under 18, right? Under 18. So it appears this way, but it doesn't look good anymore, right? So if you reload, now what the hell is under 18? So I'm going to add a paragraph up here. So a p tag, I'm going to say enter your age, right? So press Ctrl S, and now it's gonna look this way. So what's your age? Are you under 18? So the level for this particular input is under 18. So they can choose that. Then we have to duplicate these things over and over again from here, right? So I'm going to duplicate like this, and like this. So we have like 4 of them, or let me make it 3, right? So here we have under 18, right? So here we're going to be 18 to 30. Here we're going to have 30 and above, right? So okay, just use this Ctrl S and reload. Cool. So once they choose this, they can't choose 2. That is what makes radio buttons different from radio input, different from check boxes. With check boxes, you can click more than one, but make sure, right, for the browser to read it as the same stuff, make sure that the name is the same in all of them. Then you can now change the IDs if you want to, right? You can change the IDs and change the value, right? So the value here, you can add it at once. So we can add value. It's going to be of course on the same thing that is here. So we can add for this one, add under 18 for this. So you're telling the browser for this one, this is what I want you to add there, right? For this 30 and above, right? Then for the labels, you can change this age to the ID, right? Because this ID now it should be 18 and above, right? So not 18, so 30 and above. So I'm going to call it above 30. Okay, and then here too, I'll now change this to above 30. Cool. And then here too, I'm going to change for ID to be middle range, middle age. Okay, then change this one to the ID to become under 18. Now I observe how I didn't use numbers to start these IDs, because it is not cool, it's not accepted to use numbers to start your IDs, right? So I think this video has lasted longer than I planned it to last, but then it was productive, I believe. So structure your page. Now we're going to get into, in the next videos, we're going to start getting into HTML, right? I mean, in the next videos, we're going to start getting into CSS to be able to style these pages to look good. Now everything is just packed together. We have our web page, but our web page looks pretty ugly, right? Okay, so now we're going to have to do something about that. But then you can explore other tags that are available. Check on Google, you can check on other platforms and all of that. Explore them and see. There is W3 schools that you can check out. They have good stuff there. There is free code camp that can help you look up other tags, or you can even check the documentation for HTML, right? HTML5, and see other tags that you can use and all of that. There are many tags. We can't exhaust them in this video or even in this whole lesson, right? So let's keep practicing, and I will see you in the next video. Just make sure we are here, because we're going to start styling with CSS and making this page look much more attractive. Now you've got us started, and I can tell you you've made a lot of progress to get to this point of this video, and I'm very, very proud of you. So if you've gotten up to this point in this video, please give a thumbs up in the comment section. That encourages us to continue, and then like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to be notified when I post the next video. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.